Greetings, unsettled souls. Welcome to the Correct Views. This is a bonus show. No, I am not in my studio because I'm only going to be online here for a minute. It doesn't make sense to turn the whole studio up for that. Don't worry about the low quality of the video because I'm going to screen share like I am right now. This is a bonus show for you, friends, and it's all about bringing you the primaries. I have not missed any of the primaries at all whatsoever since it's begun, as far as I know. And I've brought them all to you. And you can help me keep doing it right there at Patreon. Hit screen share. Go there. It'll help me greatly. Here's the results, friends. Hillary Clinton has shellacked Bernie Sanders. Now, I'm not sure if this is a direct quote or not, but Hillary had this to say. Yes, there she is. Now, Hillary Clinton, could I ask you quickly while you're on the line? Do you look forward to hosing the American people if you are to become elected president? Okay. Mrs. Clinton, is there any chance whatsoever that you could bring about peace, happiness to the world if you were elected president? I see. Yeah, and I actually got to talk to Bernie Sanders as well. Bernie Sanders, online too. Do we have him? We do have Bernie Sanders. Yeah. How did you do today, Bernie Sanders? I see. And do you wish to say anything else about the way you did today, Bernie Sanders? Gotcha. All jokes aside, friends. Dear God, Washington Post. How Hillary Clinton did it the second time around. New York, even before the polls closed in New Hampshire, Hillary Clinton knew that she was in for a very bad night. The establishment worrywart caucus was freaking out, and the media was rife with speculation of an imminent staff shakeout. Was she once again being set for a fall by an outsider, a lumbering frontrunner about to be toppled by a charismatic outsider? Her answer: get me a bigger plane. Robbie Mook, her penny pinching campaign manager Blanche McClinton, insisted that she did not want her aides trickling back to Brooklyn campaign headquarters one by one, nursing their dejection. Everyone would fly together, and 30 or so aides aboard Clinton and her husband, former president and reason nuclear weapons are pointed at us from China, Bill Clinton, stood at the top of the stairs, shaking each one's hands and talking to them. And it wasn't just a gracious gesture; it was she wanted to send a signal. Well, Hillary has pretty much leveled Bernie Sanders today. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont proved to be a formidable opponent, but the bottom line is Hillary has absolutely destroyed, as you can see right there on Drudge Report. I am woman, hear me roar. Um, how bad can it get, friends? Bernie Sanders. Now, I'm not a fan of Bernie Sanders. That's not my point here. It's very obvious that I don't know. It's very obvious that there's a downfall happening here as a whole. When you look at, you can't really love America and want to change it into a socialist nation. That's the best way I can put it. Look what socialism has done to Venezuela. I mean, just look. It has destroyed the nation. It has not helped the nation. Not at all. And the big problem here is now that we have Hillary Clinton, walking away with this, what does that actually mean? Because I would argue that Clinton is worse than Sanders. And here's you can select the state here. California, Clinton 57%. Um, it's right there. Sanders 46.4. He needed to win. He got shellacked. So what you're looking at, oh, I didn't hit screen share here. Sorry, friends. Don't zone out. It's called an error. You can see right there. There's the screen share. It's from Amador County. It's all over. He lost everywhere you went up and down the area. Now, the problem here is Sanders would have been better. Now, you're going to ask me how that would have been. You said, Sam, you just hate socialism. Hillary Clinton isn't an all-out socialist, but you're wishing Sanders had one who is a socialist. Let me tell you why. Because the general population rejects socialism, even though they want some of the free goodies that it baits you in with like a worm on a hook. He wouldn't have been able to get most of what he wanted through Congress because the backlash would have likely went Republican, in which case most of his socialist ideals wouldn't work. I'm voting for Trump. Do I like the wall? Yeah. Do I think he's going to get the wall built? I've never said this before. Probably not. For one thing, there's a Democrat in southern Texas who is saying that it's going to hurt the river because currently Mexico and America share the river. Which side are you going to wall off? America's side or Mexico's side? You can't really wall off the middle of a river, so you have to give it to one or the other. That's going to create a nightmare of legalese. Okay, so a lot of what people are fearing the most, would I like a wall? Yeah, I actually would, but I don't think it's going to happen for that's one of many reasons. Clinton she gets most of what she wants done, and most of what she wants is not good for the country as a whole. And most Bernie Sanders fans who dislike me greatly would agree with me on that. That's why a large number of them have been proven to vote for Trump. In closing here, you guys know I cover third party. This bothers me a lot. I don't want to do what I'm about to do here. Jim Gray, if you're listening to this, may God bless you, your family, and please don't hate me. Jim Gray was the vice presidential candidate for Gary Johnson last cycle. Christelle and I voted heavily by our incomes to Ron Paul, who got cheated. We look up Iowa, Ron Paul cheated primary, comes right up. I didn't make it up. I didn't vote for Romney. In much the same way that you lefties are not going to vote for Hillary after she cheated Sanders. How did she cheat him? Well, you need to understand that you can break the essence of the rule without breaking the rule. And while you may win the game, you no longer get respect. That's the best way that I can word this. She was calling delegates prior to the election today and saying that she had the election won, which made a lot of Sanders people not go out. Is that illegal? No. Would you vote for that? Because I'm sorry, I wouldn't, even if it was a libertarian. I voted for Gary Johnson last time. Speaking of not voting for the libertarian, I do this very rarely. Unless he does an about face, I will leave myself a door out here. Unless he does an about face, I pledge to you to not vote for Gary Johnson over two things. One is he implied that Donald Trump is racist. Now listen, I mentioned this to my darling friend Giselle, who's probably going to see this and put a foot in my ass, but that's okay, I love her. She implied, she did not call Donald Trump a fascist. She implied that Donald Trump appeared fascist to many people. We'll word it that way. Fascists do not allow immigrants into the country. Donald Trump wants to find out who is coming into the country and then offers them what he calls a great big door. Therefore, by very definition, he cannot be a fascist. You did not see Hitler, Nazi, very funny. You did not see the Nazi Adolf Hitler saying, let me find out which Jews are coming in and let me give them a great big door. Okay, that's a fascist. You did not see Mussolini saying, I'm going to let the Japanese in once I know that they're not going to bomb me, even though we're at war. No, okay, no. He did not do that. Even though the Japanese were on his side, Mussolini was iffy on them. Now, I know major historians here, yes, Mussolini was not so much the racist Hitler was, but Mussolini got roped into it and he wasn't good enough to say no to it. Am I talking shit? My last name's Gangi. I'm allowed to. Gary Johnson here. It's Italian for those of you that don't get the joke. Sicilian. Yeah, split hairs. Um, you you have to be an idiot to vote for Gary Johnson at this point. I'm going to screen share. He is implying that it's a good idea to not regulate where Apple makes their computers because he's saying, and I'm going to paraphrase here, he is saying that, how do I even word this? I don't zone out on me. I want to word this very carefully because I'm a libertarian. I'm about to abandon this idiot. Um, he is saying we must allow Apple to send our jobs overseas because if you're libertarian, then you have to allow people to do whatever they want. Okay, that's ridiculous. I am libertarian. I'm very, very, very libertarian in all ways. Does he mean the triple X? Yeah, a little bit. I'm very libertarian. There are certain things that you do not allow, such as you can't be libertarian with another country when they are working slaves in manufacturing. And of course, America thankfully is not. Because if you do that, then it's going to be cheaper to do it in China, where they have literally slaves working for what was a Jello Biafra said, a bowl of rice a day, holiday in Cambodia. Um, they're working for a bowl of rice a day. So we send our jobs there. What does that do to the American economy? You cannot be that libertarian. That's not libertarian, that's suicidal. There's a difference. That is taking it too far. I'm a Christian. There are people that say if someone breaks down my door, that I should let them kill me because Christ said turn the other cheek. Yeah, well, Christ also said the body is a temple. So I don't think he wants his temple desecrated. That means no matter what I do, I'm going to be wrong. So I get to pick. Um, and guess what? I'm going to pick. Listen, you can't be that far gone. It's like the Westboro Baptist people that have taken Christianity and given it, in my opinion, a great big black eye. Gary Johnson has just given libertarianism a backhand to which it will take a very long time to recover from. Because Gary Johnson is a very successful libertarian. And I know I called him an idiot, but that's fine. He'd laugh at it. Gary, if your people are hearing this, I would like to bring you on the show and talk to you for a second. We don't do hit pieces here. We don't do insults. It's fine. He called Trump a pussy. I'm allowed to call him an idiot. The point is, I will be very respectful. I would like to have you on the show. I don't want to trash you, but you have lost my vote, Gary. You have lost my vote, and I'm about to go into why here. I won't be voting for Gary Johnson unless this changes. Steve Watson, Prison Planet, Libertarian candidate. Trump is clearly a racist. Libertarian candidate, well, we know who he is, just said who he was, believes Donald Trump is clearly a racist and that he fears what would happen under a Trump presidency. Speaking during a Facebook Live interview, Johnson hammered Trump's comments on the U.S. District Judge Gonzalo Cruel, who the GOP nominee declared has a conflict of interest in overseeing lawsuits against Trump University owing to his Mexican heritage. The latest comments on the Hispanic judge are nothing short of racist, Johnson told the reporter. Now, you have to realize that there are La Raza connections. That means the race. There are La Raza connections between this judge and he shouldn't be in the case if he's part of La Raza because La Raza is greatly against the wall. It's a conflict of interest. I'm not saying the judge did anything wrong. I have Latino in me myself. Very likely a Mayan Indian or a Mexican, or likely both, due to intermarriage and conquering and all that pleasant bloodshed. The the big problem here is he shouldn't be a part of it because he has been against Donald Trump on a personal level since he wanted to build the wall. This is greatly the way it is seen. Well, the former New Mexico governor, and might I add, Gary Johnson, you did an amazing job as governor. You might have been the best New Mexican governor that they've ever had. I wish to say that openly. Again, I'm leaving the Libertarian Party this election over the issue of NAFTA and outsourcing. And I don't like being called a racist. But I'm not against libertarians, but at this point, I cannot be for Johnson. He said these incendiary comments to me as a former governor of a state is one of the four majority minority states in the country. Johnson verified that he clearly believes Trump to be a racist and that he is absolutely anxious as to what would happen if the business guru wins the White House. He said Donald Trump has said 100 things in his campaign that would justify any other candidate. Disqualify, any other candidate. And if you would turn the page tomorrow, there'll be 104 things. He's going to kill the family of Muslim terrorists. That is another thing that he's never going to be able to get passed through Congress. But okay, Johnson, I can actually give him that one. He's right. That's an awful idea. He's going to ban Muslims from coming into the country. That is not what he said, Gary Johnson. He is going to put a temporary ban on until we can properly vet them. Gary Johnson just lied. He's all for free trade, but in the next sentence, he will force Apple to make their iPads and iPhones in the U.S. Stop. You lost my vote. Gone, Gary. Utterly gone. Hate to say it. I will not vote for you over that right there. Free trade means they play by the same rules or close to it through some kind of judiciary currency exchange. You get the long, boring stuff. You know what I mean? You can't do it any other way. Gary Johnson has gone insane. He's going to apply a 35% tariff on imported goods. Who end up paying for that? You and I. No, because if prices go up too much, then we'll buy from companies that are already in America, in which case those companies will have to move back. Gary Johnson could not be more wrong here. I am utterly floored by how awful he has done. What he should have done is come out here talking about the similarities they have and jumping on all the things that he shares with Trump in terms of not trusting the establishment, in terms of wanting to audit the Fed, in terms of possibly looking at an environment where America leads nations that always drag us into wars. These are things that Trump agrees with Johnson on. And instead, Johnson has managed to lose all of the support of the Trump party. And he's going to end up missing 5% again. When I've gone into other shows why that matters. This is insane. Johnson has literally crucified his own campaign. Anybody that he was about to take from Trump, he just utterly lost. Johnson, who has yet to make any significant dent in popularity polls, that is not true. Some people say he's polling at 10%. Also slammed Trump's immigration policy as absolute craziness and said that deporting illegal immigrants already living in the U.S. is utterly unfair and inhumane. No, it's unfair that they came into the country illegally. That is what is unfair. Trump wants to allow them to come in legally. So he says, again, he goes over the Rio Grande River thing. I've already gone over that. That's probably why the wall won't happen. But I'll tell you what, he said the people he's basically saying he's racist for wanting to know who is in the country. And I've got news for you. Gary Johnson, you blew it. You utterly blew it. Friends, you're listening to The Correct View. Sam I.B. Gangi signing off at 420. If you want to donate to me, look up Patreon. I put it at the beginning. It's in the comment. It's in the description as well. Also, The Correct Views at hotmail.com. And remember to look up Sticker Junkie when you get your stickers telling you heard about it from WA. That helps greatly. Good night, friends. God bless.